Welcome back for another video. It's Eharbad, and we are back in Raid Shadow Legends, and I wanted to share with you that this is my first ever full clear of Curse City on hard. Managed the 101 stages fully done. The final stage that needed to be cleared was none other than stage 19. It is a bit of an RNG fest, I'll be honest. I will show my builds, however. I had, in terms of speed order, Kaden was the fastest in a bolster set, backed up by a one-piece stone skin. In terms of total stats, we had enough accuracy to be landing our debuffs, 259 speed, a good amount of effective HP, with a decent HP pool giving us a nice shield at the beginning. No masteries on Kaden, and the skills were fully booked. Funnily enough, actually, I was trying it for a while and I didn't realise that my A2 and A1 were not fully booked. Back, obviously, when I did Faction Wars, several years ago, I booked out the A3, but this was missing the last two books, so that's a 15% debuff chance and the cooldown, quite important ones. And this was missing the final 10%, which again is actually kind of important to get that up to 30% chance to provoke on the A1. Pretty important books. Once they were in, they did help. I think if I actually farmed out the Masteries, I would probably go for Fearsome Presence. Gives you another option if you wanted to run him in a stun set instead. You could do so. I quite liked Bolster, particularly on wave 3. I found it very useful to be able to revive, and basically Kaden was kind of looking after himself with the Bolster. I think Shield would work. I think Guardian could potentially work, although I do worry that it'd take too much damage. Regen, obviously, as well. But I think Bolster is really the ideal set, personally. I do like that regen to make sure, like I said, in Wave 3, that you could revive. You could also definitely stack up the resistance, particularly if you've got a higher awakening on Kaden, you're getting those stats. Having enough resistance to be able to avoid taking the debuffs is actually pretty valuable. And in retrospect, I actually probably could have maybe built in a little bit more resistance, sacrificed a bit of the defense, something like that would have been worthwhile. The second champion in the speed order, and what I was generally doing, was Kaden A2 to get the decrease attack, and then using Tayll with the old Singing Steel, where not only do you place decreased defense, but if they're under decreased attack, you also get sleep. And this is actually extremely important in being able to do this stage. I do have Cruelty 4-star on the Tayll. In retrospect, maybe Tayll could have been my damage dealer if I switched Blessings, went to Crushing Rend, but really that you need to get to the 5th star, if not 6th star, for that to be most useful. I would say having 2 Tayrells would definitely be worthwhile. I was running Tayll in stun set, damage dealing stun set, enough accuracy again, 100% crit rate, nearly 200% crit damage, pretty fast at 257, but is slower than Kaden. That's the important thing. 5.2k defense. Like, these are a really good build, to be honest, a stun set, but this is the nature of the beast. You do need extremely good builds. Masteries, I did end up having to farm them out. I did try without, but having Fearsome, I would say on 2 champions is probably the minimum you really want to be running. I tried it with 0 for a while, and it was too challenging, too difficult. As for a second set, you could pick whatever you wanted. I went Broken Pieces, just happened to rip off some pretty good pieces off my account to get the stats required. So we're using a piece of Relentless and a piece of Savage there that have been fully ascended for other purposes. I did run double Revenge. I was just kind of hoping that we'd counterattack with the A1, potentially get a stun off. We also had, I would ideally actually not have used these offensive masteries, and I would have picked up Evil Eye otherwise. The reason I have the offensive masteries is from a very, very long time ago. I had farmed like maybe 80 scrolls or 100 scrolls, something like that, and I just picked the first 2 nodes probably for some kind of quest, one of the advanced quests where you have to unlock a mastery. So I didn't want to use my free reset, so I just filled in the rest there and rushed down, got fearsome. I actually ended up getting 750 scrolls, and I added deterrence as well, but in retrospect probably didn't need it. Yeah, I think there's a few different options you can go. Tayll, really important. Kaden I thought was really strong. And then the third champion in the speed order, another extremely important champion to get this done, is Scaris, who I went for triple frostbite, which means, we end up with, 30% chance to place freeze on an attacker. You could do frost plus frostbite. It's the same chance, but I went for triple frostbite. My frost gear is not particularly great, nor is my frostbite, to be honest. It's getting better. At least I have something worth farming now for rotation 1 in the Doom Tower. I want to get better frostbite. It's really useful throughout Soulcross, I would say. A blessing would be nice. Obviously, these are all booked out. And then in terms of masteries, the big ones for crowd control, Fearsome Presence and Evil Eye. I did pick up Bloodlust because I thought it would be quite useful to try and keep Scaris topped up. He obviously takes the most damage as he uses the provokes, etc. So getting an extra 10% each time we kill someone, pretty good. I also went for Harvest Despair. Any chance to get some leech to help me try and heal up, again, just giving me some way of sustaining. That is what I went for on Scaris. We only went for 550 scrolls. We do have the ability to, farm out a bit further. I'd probably get Master Hexer. And beyond that, maybe Cycle of Revenge just to get more turn meter, maybe Deterrence. None of them are particularly important, to be honest. So that's why I hadn't really bothered. Saved myself some energy by not doing anything further. Then the fourth champion in the turn order was Royal Guard, stun set with Perception. I didn't swap the Masteries. I do have Evil Eye. Fearsome would have been an option, but these are basically kind of old school Royal Guard Masteries from when I used to use them in Hydra, amongst other places. Again, damage dealing stun set, 100% crit rate, 220% crit damage, 5.5k attack, enough accuracy again. And it's a tough stage. Like, I had to give my best stun gear to both of the Royal Guards, my best bolster set to Kaden, my best frostbite set up to Scaris. And then my fifth and final champion was Judge. Let me give the gloves that I had been using for him back, and then we can see the overall effect. I had stolen Newt's gloves. I'd stolen Carl's weapon, and I actually went and ascended it up to get this extra attack. I was searching for anything. I went 1-star ascension to see if I could get extra attack on both the shield and the helmet as well. So yeah, Newt's gloves, which are some of the best crit damage gloves on my account. And then my best chest piece, which are usually on Leoris, also ascended up. And then these are Leoris's boots, triple roll speed with speed ascension as attack percent boots. Like, I've really given him the best gear I have to try and get this stage done. In terms of masteries, I went for everything that was going to increase damage. So we do have Helm Smasher, we do have Methodical, because I used his A1 actually quite a lot in terms of killing people. Kill Streak as well, so that's 12%, 10% from Methodical. We also ended up going for Opportunist. A lot of the time we're fighting people that are either stun or frozen, and this is another 12% damage. We're always fighting people with higher max HP than us, another 6%. Not always are we full HP, but at least at the very beginning of the fight we were, and that's another 5% to try and help take down that Marishka. I did go for Whirlwind of Death, which meant I could run him a little bit slower and get out a little bit more attack. I will pick up the 18 speed pretty much by the second wave. And to be honest, he doesn't actually need to be that fast because we're going to fully crowd control with the other 4 champions. Also have single out, which only kicks in under 40% HP, but another 8%. So, we are absolutely stacking up all the damaging abilities possible. I could have gone for Cycle of Violence, but I'm not actually relying on his A2 that much, so it didn't seem to be that worthwhile. Life Drinker could have been possible as well. In retrospect, maybe I wouldn't have gone for Whirlwind. Maybe I would have gone for Ruthless Ambush instead. I do think that could have maybe been a better overall path, but I'm pretty happy with this. I haven't picked his second path yet. I do think I'll go down the support side, because in other rooms I might use him as a debuffer, at which case I think I'll pick up these accuracy nodes and then just Evil Eye. So I'll just do this little thing here, and then Master Hexer probably, maybe Sniper, not sure, have to decide which one. I would have liked to have picked up probably both of them, but ultimately I needed the damage. I've restricted what I can do as a second support tree, but I've built him predominantly as a damage dealer. In terms of total stats, we've got just under 7k attack, which on a rare is quite high, and 300% crit damage. Like I said, he's really decked out in the best gear I've got. Very squishy though, with 2k defense and 31k HP. So he did drop quite a number of times, but Kaden was there to pick him back up. Let me just show the opening gambit in terms of the turn order. So I'd open with the A2, get the decrease attack, I'd eat the stun, I'd then have to go in with the sleep. Really, you need Stoutus to be slept at this point, and you also, between either Tayll, Scaris, and Royal Guard, you need to get a stun on Mariska, because ultimately you need to go in like that, and then that should be, you're not actually going to kill her, but ultimately you need her not to do the heal. So it's really about restarting over and over until you get that correct setup. So we ideally get the sleeps across the board. We still didn't on Stoutus. Not the absolute end of the world, but we again need to go in and get the stun. We don't. Maybe if we get lucky with a Phantom Touch proc, we would have killed her. We didn't. It is possible for me to kill her in one iteration, but not probable, not reliable. Again, we eat the stun, we go in, we A1, we haven't got the stun, we go in, no Helm Smasher, no Phantom Touch. If we do get Helm Smasher and Phantom Touch, she will die. But again, like I said, it's not something that can be relied upon. So we just go in, then A1 again, no stun. We got the stun this time. So then we can go in, and we got Helm Smasher plus Phantom Touch. So you can see that was kind of ideal. I'd then stun one of the Tayrells. I think this one can be stunned. This one definitely can. So let's try. Here we go. 2-turn stun. We then get the provoke. And then at this point, I'll try and get some other stuns. We did get another stun there. And then we're hoping for stuns on Flipback. I'm going to try and get an A2, an A1 there on Stoutus. Basically, we need to kind of we need to control Stoutus as much as possible, really. Try and get some stuns off again. Try and get the decreased speed. Didn't happen. That's kind of annoying. We'll have to try and go for the provoke. We failed. We take a big hit there. Another big hit. We lose some of our champions to try and get a stun on Cephalia. Again, drop the turn meter on Cephalia. Hopefully kill Cephalia. I'm not going to revive just yet. I'll let this die. Provoke again. Will do the decrease defense. And now I'll revive. But this is basically kind of what you end up doing. It's really the one that we care about. I need to try and get his turn meter dropped. We failed. And then this would basically be a wipe, and I'd have to start again. And that hopefully will at least show you kind of the thought process in terms of how to do it. On the third stage, we're looking to take down Karato and Jingwon as quickly as possible. And then once you've got 2 Harimas and the, what do you call it? Go back here. 2 Harimas and Yumiko last. So Jingwon you really need to kill as fast as possible, to be honest. Karato will block your skills. Jingwon will cleanse them. That's even worse, in my opinion. So Jingwon, for me, was the one that I prioritized killing. I took him down first. And because Judge, has got all those kills by then, he's used his A1 a number of times. I actually found that I was doing pretty good damage by the time I got through wave 2 into wave 3. So I used the same opening gambit on every single wave, opening with Kaden A2 into Tayll to sleep, and then I'd focus fire on one of them. On wave 2, it didn't really matter who you kill first, to be honest. I think I went for Sulfurion and Krokmars first, and then left Balsatha for last. But really, on that first rotation, it's just whoever got a stun was the one I focus fired. And then I'd let the sleep run through, and then use Scaris as a provoke, and then keep trying to A1 people to get the stuns and all the rest of it, get the decreased speed from Royal Guard. And you can see how I cycled through. And ultimately, we got it done. There were some other really horrendous stages. S18 was quite painful. Ended up running both Daithi in Stone Skin. That was the way I went through it. S20 was pretty brutal as well. I had to go damage dealing Valkyrie, damage dealing Grush, damage dealing Dreng. You actually need a lot of DPS. And then I went for 2 control champions in Hoskrul and Blizzard. Blizzard doing the majority of the crowd control. Grush helping quite a lot because you get the continuous heals, gives you survivability. I do have a 4-star Grush as well. I have picked Crushing Rend. I'd love to get 5 or 6-star onto him just to help on these stages. Hoskrul, really good. I quite liked the way I could basically... Hoskrul, I'd use the increased defense before Valkyrie used the A2 to give me a big shield. So I'd basically kind of open with Blizzard freeze into Hoskrul increased defense, and then into the 3 kind of damage dealers. And then the second rotation round, I'd use Hoskrul's A2 to get with that 75% chance to stun, and then you would also have Blizzard with an A1, and you'd try and get a freeze, or hopefully nuke someone down, etc., etc. And really, the most difficult part was probably surviving the 2 Rotos towards the end, plus, the Necrit and the Ultimate Death Knight. Like, this is why I ended up having 3 damage dealers, because there's so much damage mitigation and your wrong affinity against the Rotos. It's pretty brutal. I think Raf Matab would have been another really strong option, because increased resistance are actually quite useful, but you get this AoE provoke, 3-turn cooldown, and you give block damage to yourself, which is kind of valuable. Means that you won't take any damage once provoked, and you have this chance of increasing cooldown of target skills on the A1. Pretty good overall. I think he would have fit in quite nicely. Dreng actually did good damage. You got the HP burn, but you've also got the equalize for a heal. And typically, someone would be relatively near high health. So, yeah, it was a tough old one. I did have Hell Hades Optimizer open throughout all of my runs. So if you want to replicate, as in if you have the same champions, you should be able to find my exact teams by using the, whatever it is, like the team optimizer thing. So if you, let me see if I can actually open this up. Find team, must include, let's go Valkyrie to make sure we get the correct rotation, which was my team. And let me quickly click back here. I took 285 turns. It doesn't actually tell me what time I took. That's kind of annoying. Which would have been me. Let's have a look. That's looking a lot like me, isn't it? That's the correct number of blessings and the correct blessing, correct number of awakening, correct blessing, correct number of awakening, correct blessing, correct awakening, and no blessing. I think this is exactly my setup. And yeah, this is the exact Eharbad style of doing things. we don't pick much on Masteries. You can see I went Helm Smasher, and actually Grush hasn't even got down to Helm Smasher. Would help if he did. In terms of speed order, it's exactly what I said. Blizzard fastest, then Hoscarl. And yeah, like everyone's built to do damage, basically. Oh, it's a horrendous stage. Ended up putting Lethal on Dreng. We got Savage on Valkyrie and Savage on Grush. Yeah, I think Valk's in a pretty good build. Grush and Dreng weren't in my best gear by any stretch, but Valkyrie was in a pretty crazy build, to be honest. And that was that. I did eventually get it done, and I know people were asking about stage 20. So that is precisely what I ran and the strategy I employed. And that's that. We finally have done a 101 clear. And I think the next thing I'm going to do is pull some shards, because we do have this chance to get Archer, and I would like to give that chance a try. Archer's just ridiculous. I mean, such a good champion, and it will be deeply upsetting for everyone who does not get her, no matter how much you spend or not. It's one of those champions that everyone wants and would love an opportunity to be able to get as a guaranteed if it's limited time champion, or should just be in the pool forever. And then, you get it eventually or not, but at least you always have the possibility of pulling her, which I think is important for game-changing champions. Anyway, that's it for this video. I went off on a bit of an Archer-related tangent at the end. As always, thanks for watching. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. I know I didn't really show much in terms of gameplay, and I was mostly just talking about this horrendous Cursed City, but we finally got a 101 clear, which I'm pretty chuffed about, but honestly, it's just not worth it. And this is, for me, the big problem in the game these days is Soulcross is it's soul destroying to do, to be honest. But it's nice that I've done it once. I probably won't really be bothering too much hereafter. I do want to get Tainted Fireware each time. This is probably the best stage to do by far, because you get those 1,000 tier 3 coins. Anyway, like I said, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.